you're all well, having a great new year. The minutes are in your packets. Is there a motion for the approval of the regular minutes from the December 1st, 2025 meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Sonia, the recorder, has our report on distributions for November.
Okay, on page 1, down towards the bottom, the Cigna payment is $67,189.24. Of course, that's the health insurance for the employee. That's the employer and the employee portion. Underneath that, county record services, $1,977.03. That's for our property tax mailings. Page 2, down at the middle, is Norfolk Southern Corporation, $12,007.44. That's the railroad lease for the marketplace. Below that, a couple of lines, Precision Lawn Care, $2,079. That's grass seed for our soccer fields, which we're seeding ourselves now. A couple of lines below that, Retail Strategies, $50,000. That's our retail consulting firm that we have hired. And down at the bottom of the page, Sweetwater Utilities Board, $9,256. That's our stormwater payment for the month. On page 3, at the top, Temple, $3,900. That's the NEMA workshop for 3 employees to go learn about the red lights so that they can fix some issues with our red lights. On page 4, in the middle of the page, Charter Communications, $3,651.24. That's the phone, internet, and cable for the entire city. Down below that, Sweetwater Machine Shop, $2,200. That's a work table for the street department. And on page 5 of General Fund, in the middle of the page, Sweetwater Utilities Board, $28,459.73. That's the utilities and water for the entire city. The next page is our State Street Aid Fund. There is a payment to Cannon & Cannon for $1,800. That is the NEPA phase on the TAP grant. That was for September. Then below that, we had another check to Cannon & Cannon for $1,200. That's for the October payment. Not anything significant in drug fund, nor tourism. The library fund's in there. If you have any questions, you can ask Tanya about that. And in our solid waste fund, $26,117.68. That's the monthly garbage contract with WCI.
Okay, thank you, Sonia. Do I have a motion to approve the distributions for November, please?
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion's carried. I would like to welcome Miss Ann Caber, our auditor. Miss Ann, what do you have for us this evening?
I've got good news.
Awesome, great.
So first off, we're very glad this year to have the report filed with the state before the end of December. That's something that we've been working toward pretty much since COVID. It's been a little bit late, but we've caught up finally from COVID, and then we had an influx of work and just some staffing, kind of short vacancies and things like that. So, but we believe we're on track now, and we should be able to get it filed in a timely manner going forward. So, I'll do very, very high-level brief overview. Of course, anytime during the year, if any of y'all have questions, you need to talk to us. Jessica can give you all contact info. We're happy to answer questions as we need to. First thing, audit report, clean opinion. That's what you want. So we didn't have any issues. The financial statements are presented as required by GASB. The general fund ended 6/30/25 with $10 million in assets and just a small amount of liabilities and fund balances of $7.3 million. So I think that shows good fiscal responsibility. There's a lot of fund balance there should anything rise, and you need to tap into that for some reason or another. For the year ended June 30, general fund increased the fund balance by about $500,000. So again, that's good fiscal leadership. As part of the audit, we look at the internal controls over compliance, related to the grants and just internal control over financial reporting. We issued 2 reports on that. Both of those were clean opinions on that. We had no comments in there. You guys received about $3 million in federal funding during 2025 and about $1.8 million in state funding during 2025. So for us to be able to issue a clean opinion with no comments is not a small feat. So both the city and the schools complied with the federal grants, the state grants, and the ways that they needed to make sure that those funds can keep coming in. So that's all good news.
Yay.
So any other questions for me or?
I just want to commend all of our bookkeepers,
Yeah,
whether it be with
absolutely.
our cities, in the schools and everything else. They do a phenomenal job, and Miss Ann, thank you for
Yeah.
coming to give us that, great news.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're very proud.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
You too.
Okay, we have no one registered to make public comment on any actionable items, and there is no new business, or excuse me, old business. So we'll move on to new business. We have a bid received for the pool. They're Sam Mosier to work on the LPRF grant. And you held the bid opening meeting. Would you like to review it?
So we opened the bid back on December the 18th, and the scope of work for this particular portion of the bid was to repair the pool, a new filtration system, and pool equipment, and then all the piping that went from the pool equipment to the pool and back, as well as the repairs. So originally we had cost estimates that came in at $776,093. The bid that we received was $809,200. We only had one contractor that bid, but they were the ones that basically were doing the engineering as well. So the independent cost estimates that we got for 7076 was outside of the 809. So we're within 33,000 of our original estimate. The 809 200 also has 50,000 in contingency in that 809 as well. Obviously, with projects, we don't know what's coming up. We hope to save that 50, but it's in there. So our office has reviewed the scope of work inside this bid, and they met all the bid requirements for, I'll hit the highlights on what that is, but basically, they're going to patch and repair all of the pool structure as far as the main pool, as well as the kiddie pool as well. This price of $809,000 included a replastering of the pool. It's a hard surface. We had asked for an ad alternate, and that ad alternate was an additional, let me get what that was. It was an additional $175,000. That was for a membrane versus a replaster. The membrane was a 15-year, and the replaster is a 5-year. Okay, so the 809,200 is the replaster cost. I've got the finish that was selected.
Wait, you said it's the replaster, just the 5-year?
Yes,
Okay.
but that's the surface that comes with the replaster.
Okay.
It's a diamond bright, super blue. So with everything that we have reviewed, like I say, they met the bid specifications, and it would be our recommendation to approve the 809, 200, unless you guys want to add the 175. I don't feel like there's a need for that additional cost
A membrane?
for the membrane. But once again, that's just kind of our recommendation. Taylor could be available for questioning if y'all have any.
I just think with the difference between a 5-year warranty and a 15-year warranty, what is the membrane, what is it warranted from? I mean, because I know you're gonna have the possibility that somebody's gonna get in there with a pocket knife and stick in it or something like that. I mean, I'm sure that wouldn't be covered, but I just don't wanna get 5 years down the road and spend $800 and something thousand and it be right back where we are now with the pool. I mean,
Like I say, go ahead.
Sorry, do you know of any pools in the area like Loudon or anything that decided not to get the membrane and has gone past the 5 years easily? Do we have any?
The YMCA in Athens, I
Okay.
believe, uses these guys, and they, like I say, we just finished a renovation project with them on their locker room, and they spoke highly of these guys. I mean, we can get another reference if we need to for you guys.
If we know that there's a history of this one for 5 years, lasting longer than 5 years, I would feel comfortable not spending the extra money. But if we had, 6 people that had the 5 year and they're like, yeah, at 7 years we had
Okay.
to, I would be more willing to spend the extra 180,000 for the membrane.
Okay. Would the council want me to go back and get some additional references for the membrane before we approve, or how do we want to kind of give them the go ahead? The schedule for the bid was 122 days. So we've got a little flex time in there. They know that we want to open the pool up
Yeah.
for this summer. So that 122 days would give us a little wiggle room and still get us open.
So does this include the plumbing as well?
Yes.
Okay, I did not hear you say that. So
Yeah,
that's why.
it is. It has to do with the equipment, all the new lines, and a new holding tank for the pool
Okay.
as well.
did you say it was a complete replaster? They're gonna repair what's there and then
Yes.
the whole thing would be?
They'll resurface the whole pool.
So you're basically saying that the resurface the whole pool like it was done in the 70s, and that lasted this long
Yeah, 50
without
years.
a membrane,
Yes.
and it's basically the same. That's
Yes.
going to have a 5-year warranty.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm more comfortable doing that then.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking that I didn't want them just coming in and doing a little bit here and a
No,
little bit there
they
and
will.
getting back into the same.
Their scope of work is to drain the pool, patch and repair all the pool structure, acid wash, and then install the Diamond Bright, and then they will also install new lane tiles, depth markers, and then we'll fill. So it's a complete removal of all the.
Rebuilding it.
Yes. All of the issues that are seen on the surface will be removed, repaired, and resurfaced.
Okay.
But once again, if you want that additional information, additional reference, I don't care to.
In my opinion, if they're gonna completely redo and resurface, then if anything's gonna go wrong, it will within that 5-year period anyway. So,
A 5-year mark, I mean, typically with most projects, you get a 1-year
Yeah.
warranty. So to get 5 out of a complete rework, complete equipment, and new piping, I think is a good approach to what we have and the longevity of service that we've got to date.
This might be a rabbit trail, but what about that circular thing that I think is supposed to be some sort of splash pad or something that's kind of at the
That's,
pool.
that's totally separate
Okay.
outside of this, so.
So that's gonna
all-
look exactly the way that it is now.
Right now, that is not in this scope of work.
Okay.
This is to get the existing pool and the kiddie pool resurfaced, new equipment and new piping.
Okay.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve this bid?
I make a motion for, approval, based on them meeting the specified scope of work.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion?
They're gonna have it open for the kiddies this summer, right?
Yep,
Thank goodness. Okay.
Alan said so. I mean, right.
So,
That truly was a huge part of our discussion. Now, obviously, the other side of that is we hope to have the concession and bathhouse and all underway, so we will have to basically arrange separation and closure so that, we'll have to do temporary facilities, but at least the pool itself will be open.
have some happy babies this summer. So all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, that's great.
Let me follow up real quick. Where are we at on the environmental for the other stuff? Any clue?
Well, the mayor signed off on 100 letters to different Indian tribes last month, and we sent those back into East Tennessee Development District. So I imagine we'll hear something in the next few weeks about how the Indians in Oklahoma do not really care if we decide to do a pool project. And that means we'll be given the go-ahead. That's usually the final phase of environmental is those letters, and they have to sit out there for 60 days. And if anyone responds, we have to take those responses into consideration. But hopefully we're coming closer on that.
Good deal.
I do appreciate Sam and his firm working so diligently to break this out as two separate bids. It's more work, it's different specs, it takes more meetings, but that was specifically so we could get the pool open again this summer. So I know it was more work, Sam, and I very much appreciate you always being willing to do that.
Hey, I was a pool dweller at one time myself, so I
From a
understand.
former pool rat.
That is very important to our community, so thank you for your due diligence in that, Sam.
Thank you, guys.
So our attorney, Mr. John Cleveland, has drafted a resolution to establish a policy in case we ever need to hold an electronic meeting. So John, can you please review what you have for us?
Well, I would have thought that we had the inherent authority to allow you all to participate electronically, whether the state legislature thought anything about it or not. But apparently we don't, because they did take action, which of course, I guess preempts us from doing anything differently, but they required that we adopt their legislation in order to have the authority to hold electronic meetings. What is in the resolution is just a quote of what the statute requires. No member can participate more than 2 times a year, and it has to be for family or medical emergency, military service, or inclement weather. And I think that we have in the past and are capable in the future of being creative enough to find one or more of those exceptions in case any of you should need to participate electronically. And that's that.
So, resolution to adopt the Tennessee Code annotated 6-54-149 to establish a policy for electronic participation in the Sweetwater legislative body for the commission meetings. Is there a motion to,
So moved.
okay, is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Is there a reason we're doing this? I mean, anything particular? Does it come up or there's a problem or?
You know, the mayor wasn't able to be here the last meeting we had, and while she was present on screen, she didn't participate if, for instance, it was inclement weather, that of course would affect all of you. And we might have to pass up having a meeting, but for lack of a quorum, when in fact you could be here on your phone or your home computer or however, by Zoom.
Well, but if I understand your resolution correctly, we have to have a quorum present physically anyway. So this is more a matter of convenience for somebody that's not here.
On some, yeah, that's true as far as having a meeting. On some contentious issues, though, it might make a lot of difference about whether or not some ordinance does or does not get passed or whatever.
Yeah.
But, we're not such a contentious body that that's likely to happen often.
And your section F, where it says that the code provision sunsets itself July of 2028,
Right.
if we have no statutory authority, how can we let this continue?
Well, if and when that time comes, we guess we decide either we will or we won't.
Okay.
I think we would claim some sort of grandfather status, and having had that under the statutory authority, we would just continue home rule charter.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay. Motion carries. Okay, so last night we received a copy of the contract for Sweetwater City Schools to acquire Sweetwater High School. Okay, so Jessica's gonna try to get Chuck Cagle, the board attorney, to join us by Zoom. We know we have some guests here, and welcome to our school board members and some of our community members here. Pardon?
Sorry. Chuck had called and said he's not gotten the.
Oh, okay.
I got him on the phone here. I told him we were trying to link him in.
I mean,
Morning, Chuck.
I went to a C cable.
Oh, okay. He says that he's accepted the invitation and he's waiting on the host to let him in. And just for clarification, I did speak with Chuck a minute ago when he called and asked him about the time frame. So you have been the inspection, so obviously you all can talk to him about that.
Oh, great.
He did say purchasing as is, though. We would get the inspection prior to signing a contract. Since we're
Okay.
purchasing
Hi,
as
Chuck. He should be able to see us now, John.
Prior to signing.
prior to signing.
So you all aren't going to execute the contract.
Until we get the structural, until we get an inspection, then we can sign.
Chuck, can you hear us? Hello?
Can you hear him on the Zoom, Chuck? Okay. Said he's not hearing you on the Zoom, but he's gonna try it one more time. I'm gonna put you on speaker, Chuck, that way if you need to talk.
Oh, there he is.
I can see Chuck.
You can see Chuck.
Let's see here. See if it works this time.
We can hear you through my phone. I don't think they've got you coming through the Zoom just yet.
We love technology. All right.
I'm gonna hang up with you now. You're on the Zoom.
Hey, Chuck, this is Angie.
Exactly what I want to spend my life doing, zooming around.
That's right. This is Angie Kyle, Mayor of Sweetwater. Don't know if you can see me. Maybe you can hear me. Hello, I'm right here. And we just appreciate you being here tonight with us to answer any questions that our city commission may have. in the takeover, well, I shouldn't say the takeover, but
Acquisition.
the acquisition of Sweetwater High School.
I'm glad to be here. I would have been there in person. I got the invitation after I'd already committed to be in Perry County, Tennessee, on the other end of the state this morning. So I'm happy to be there. I look forward to any reason that I can get to come home. So I would have been there tonight, had that been possible. And I appreciate the opportunity to appear here, Mayor and members of the council.
Okay, we have had time to review the contract, so commissioners, if you have any questions for Mr. Cagle, please feel free to ask. I think the biggest thing is...
Madam Mayor, let me address the issue that's come up about the inspection. Article 9 of the contract that's proposed, and actually the Monroe County Board has already approved and signed. Article 9 of that contract actually says that we have the right to inspect the building. Now, this is not just because the school doesn't make it mean it's different, a different transaction than any real estate transaction. Once we sign a contract, it's done. But Article 9 gives us the right to enter and inspect. We must give a 24-hour notice. Getting the inspection done, and we coordinate that through their designated representative, their designated agent. So we have the right to inspect the building prior to signing the contract, but it's acknowledged that once we sign the contract, we're purchasing the building in an as-is condition.
And I apologize for any miscommunication on that end, Chuck. When we spoke in Nashville, my understanding was we signed the contract, that gives us the authority and the ability to go in and have an inspection done. If something came up that we weren't comfortable with, then we have an option to either opt out of the contract or look at other paths forward. So some of that may be miscommunication on my part.
My question was, in the inspection period, how long do we have? Is there a set time?
They'd like to have some sort of meeting between the minds, between the bodies, sometime before February 13th to get this, to do this. So if we do it by then, we're gonna have to hurry up and do it. I don't think they would object to us taking a longer time to get the inspection done. However, if we push it out too far, that means there's probably no possibility of getting this deal closed this fiscal year. That may push the transfer out to 2027.
So whose responsibility is that to have that?
That would be on us.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to speak for Chuck,
Yeah.
but it's our responsibility to get the inspection. Now, they've had a structural
That's correct.
engineer have an assessment a few years back when they had some beams put in, some structural beams. So it's possible, that we could reach out to that firm and say, could you guys come back in and do an assessment, a current assessment, and let us know. So that might fast track it a little bit. I guess it just depends on everybody's timeframes when they can get to you.
Because I think ultimately the transfer would like to be this school year.
Absolutely.
I mean, ideally.
Absolutely.
Chuck, it may be an assumption on my part, but what I am hearing is all of our questions should or better be answered before February the 13th, 2026, or this is going to roll to next year. Is that a correct? It's an exaggerated assumption, but it's almost what I'm hearing.
Well, I think that's, the county may use that as leverage to push it out that far. If we don't get our questions answered and all asked and answered and the inspection's done by February 13th, then the county's liable to use that as leverage to say, we just can't do it this year. I'm not saying it's impossible. There's nothing in this contract that says all that's not done by February 13th, but I think it will be used as leverage against us if it goes out much further than that.
Is this a negotiation tactic, or is there truly things that have to be buttoned up by then that from February the 13th to June the 30th can't be worked out?
The rest of this can be worked out. There's absolutely, I've been through this a dozen times, with acquisition of entire school districts. The rest of it can be worked out. I think we need, to get the inspection done in good faith by the 13th if we can do it. We have a couple of firms we work with here in our construction law division. One's in Atlanta, one is here in Nashville, that we've used. I've used the Atlanta firm in a Granger County High School building problem up there. They're experts in every way. So we can get the inspection. If we can get the inspection done, the opinion back, the sooner we can get that done, the better. I just don't want that to be used as leverage by any other party to say, well, we can't close this deal by June 30 this year because you didn't do your work.
Yeah. John and I had a previous conversation before the meeting started. We think that the structural engineer that did the assessment previously is someone that we've personally worked with before, so I'm gonna reach out to them on that to see what we can, one, if it is Bender and Associates, and number two, how fast we can get the information from them. But that's, like I say, that's just one question. My next question is, there was a lot of talk about equipment that was gonna be pulled out. Do we have a list of those outstanding things that's gonna be taken, or is this contract as is and all the equipment is gonna remain in the building and nothing's gonna be taken out?
We assume that the contract is originally drafted and stated that for every piece of equipment that they pulled out, that would reduce our $2.5 million buy. That's been stricken from the contract that the county board has approved. And we've stressed to them that that equipment has been purchased with either state grant dollars or federal grant dollars for the education of children. And just to pull it out and to put it somewhere, put it in storage somewhere, and if in the event is needed, could possibly be a violation of those grant contracts. I've stressed to their council the fact that there are not going to be any fewer students over there. There's not going to be any less need for equipment. So they're going to have to pretty much justify to us the fact that they're pulling out vast amounts of equipment, and just because they can do it, they feel like they can do it.
Do we know or have any idea if they've got a list? I mean, who has that inventory?
Last time we talked to them seriously about this, they didn't even have an inventory. I would assume that they have not compiled a list of equipment at this point that they intend to remove from the building at all.
And the contract does state that all furniture, fixtures, and equipment and inventory currently used for educational purposes that's located on or attached to the real estate herein described, unless the seller remains unable to transfer the same pursuant to applicable law or grant terms. So anything that can't legally be transferred won't be transferred. Everything else stays at the high school, is the way the contract is drafted.
But we have no idea what's there now.
No.
Well, we would definitely have to have an inventory from their staff. The problem is.
Can they have it done by February the 13th?
Well, I don't know. You're asking me questions about their staff. That's something that if we can move forward and, we contract negotiate and we can get into school and speak to the staff and say, this is moving forward. We have a contract we intend to sign. We've got an inspection. Then we could say, we would like you all to do an inventory of everything here. We can't tell their staff.
They should have that period. They should have that period. I mean, we do.
We get audited every year on stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, I know that my staff does that at Brown, but every year that we update that, and they should have a Title I. They have a very strong Title I department, I know, in Monroe County, and they should have those.
Y'all have an inventory that y'all are subject to the same audits our system is, so there should be
there should be at least a, a baseline.
And speaking to some of the employees of the high school, they know everything that's in their room.
Yes,
They have
as they
an
should.
ongoing, a running list of everything that is in their room that is used for education.
Okay,
They have those.
good.
So I really don't think that will be hard to obtain. It's just when we can go in there and say, hey, we want this list. And in order to do that, we gotta move forward with the contract.
So when are we planning on, Rodney, cause I just heard of this is just hearsay, of the, you meeting with the staff to go forward from there, and cause I'm not sure
We're
of,
kinda
of,
at the mercy of
the inventory. I mean, like I say, I'm not sure as far as that cutoff, that February 13th cutoff. I mean, how much do we need to, on our end, how much do we need to have done by then to say, okay, we've done our due diligence in keeping up our end of the bargain on this contract?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. It makes perfect sense. And you're welcome to speak to this if you like, but just our conversations, we intend to show up at that February 13th meeting with everything.
Okay, great.
Say, here it is, we've done our homework.
Okay.
And there's a couple of members of the county board, as well, I think that's their intentions as well. I can't speak for, Director Windsor, or,
Absolutely.
whoever's coordinate that effort.
Mhm.
But I believe their board members would say the same. Let's get this thing going.
I think so too.
So they have removed the,
For
they've removed,
purposes of,
go ahead, I'm sorry. No, you go ahead.
For purposes of state and federal audit, those inventories have to be done. And I understand Sweetwater City Schools is independently audited because there's a municipal school system. But for purposes of audit, those inventories of property have to be done, and particularly for purposes of federal audit. If those pieces of equipment have been bought with federal dollars, then any federal auditor, either on the state level is doing the federal audit, or the federal auditors themselves will come in and demand an equipment list and then search around to see if there's anything that's not been tagged and inventoried at that point. I'm dealing with closure of the school now, over which there's a lawsuit. We were asked to produce an inventory. I had the inventory for that building back in 15 minutes. So that's, that audit should have been done.
Chuck, do you know if on that audit listing though, if it has to be separated by school or if it's just done system-wide? Because that wouldn't really
It's by
suffice.
school.
It should
It is
be
by
done by
school,
school.
okay,
It's by location.
okay.
And it's possible that
The
that's.
federal grant work, we have to say that it's what location it's actually been bought for, purchased for, and the fact that it's on our list and is located at a certain place, you should be able to go to that place and find it.
It's possible that they've already started that process. I did have a teacher reach out to me and want to know if we had signed a contract because there were things being tagged, and items being tagged. So it's possible that what Chuck just mentioned, those items that are being tagged for audit, they may already be doing that, identifying those things.
But the county removed the clawback that keeps us, that said that if you take this out, then it'll reduce the price. So what happens if they remove, just truckloads of stuff? What's gonna happen? We don't have any, once you sign the contract, but it says that if applicable by, transfer the same pursuit to applicable law and or grant terms. So, how are we going to, how is that going to be stopped from happening? If that's taken out of the contract, that seems kind of intentional to be removed, and so that's just a little bit concerning.
I'll let Chuck speak to that one because that's kind of a law question. If they take what's not there, then,
Yeah, how
What's
do
our
we,
recourse?
what is our recourse? That's a great way to put it.
If they go in and what we call it is cannibalizing the building. If they go in and cannibalize the building, then we're going to expect a list of what's been removed. I think once we sign the purchase agreement for the building, it's incumbent upon us maybe just to walk through the building and take some pictures. And then we can expect from them what they have removed, fixtures, equipment, other things that they have removed from the building. And then we'd be able to go into the grant application itself. Those are public records. We'd be able to go into the grant application or ask their counsel to respond us under, what authority you have under the grant from which this was purchased to remove it and put it in another place.
But if it's not purchased, if it's just purchased through county funds, they can't take that. They cannot take that. Correct?
They should not be able to, that's correct.
Okay, but do we have a legal recourse to stop that?
I would wanna, the legal recourse would be, tell us how you're going to use it in a different place, and why was it right here? Because these are taxpayers' dollars. So, I mean, Sweetwater, what's been lost in this conversation somewhat is that Sweetwater taxpayers pay property taxes to support that school. So why, it's still going to be in Monroe County, you're still going to be paying property taxes to the city of Sweetwater to support the school. So how is it that you took that property when there is an ownership interest by the taxpayers of the city of Sweetwater?
Mr. Cagle, there's a couple of places in this contract where it references, like one place says an asset purchase agreement, another place says a transaction agreement. Are there written agreements other than this contract, to your knowledge, about what passes?
Only if we, yeah, that's a very good question. Only if we're forced to purchase some asset that they're going to remove. I don't foresee that happening, but I left that in there in the event that, something comes up.
Yeah.
That we just didn't anticipate in a contract, that we're going to have to buy. Or some asset transfer that we're going to have to transfer. Those at this stage are just things that I don't know. We just don't know what, and that could be very well come up in the transfer of equipment from the building. Is there something that they have the legal right to transfer? For example, let's just use an example of Promethean board. They can transfer that somewhere. But if we need it, could we buy that for value from them, just to leave it where it is? But this leaves the door open that we could form those agreements if we need to.
And it references, is the money payable at closing? Is that when you actually have to transfer the money?
Yes.
All right. And it says something in there on one section about an escrow deposit. Nothing's being deposited beforehand.
No, sir. No.
Okay. And there's this February 13th date, the contract does not actually set any parameters for that, does it? I mean, it just says both parties have to agree that date, or it's bumped out till 27. So that
Yes, that's correct.
they don't really have to have a reason, right?
That's correct.
And proceedings to date wouldn't be real encouraging. I won't ask, I'll say that. You don't have to, I'll say it. Okay. Another place says that all costs and expenses of transactions are assumed by purchaser. Are we paying their attorney's fees and preparation costs and whatnot?
No, I specifically struck out attorney's fees and said that each party is responsible for its own attorney's fees.
Okay.
If there's any closing costs or filing fees that are incumbent upon the government to pay to another governmental entity, we would be responsible for those.
Okay.
But we're not paying attorney's fees or agent fees or anything like that.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? We've already voted on this.
So if you can't get an inspection back and everything in time for the February the 13th, according to our conversation, if you sign this contract as the Sweetwater City School Board, it's binding at that point, whether there's an inspection done or not, correct?
So if we can't get the inspection done by February the 13th, and we go to that meeting with Monroe County, what Mr. Cagle was saying is, his fear is, he's not saying that it couldn't happen this fiscal year. His fear is that that would be leverage if they didn't want it to happen by this fiscal year. They could use that and say, you hadn't even got the inspection done, it's gonna be 2027. We still wouldn't sign, Chuck, correct me if I'm wrong, we still wouldn't sign a contract until after that inspection is done to our satisfaction. Then we would sign the contract. If it's after that February deadline, would they use that to say we're pushing this out to 27, or could we continue to push and try to get it done by 2026? Our preference would be to continue to push to get it done by 26, but I can't speak for anything from Monroe County side. I think in talking with some of their board members, they prefer, that it be done in 2026 as well, but there's no guarantees that happens. So that's best case scenario, that we get the inspection done before February, the inventories have been done, everything, the ball's rolling, from the state's end. I think Mr. Cagle's already been in touch with some people from the State Department of Education to get the ball rolling on some of those behind the scenes, like USDA and food services and all those things. So some of this stuff is prepped and ready to go. It's just a matter of, getting that thing signed and hitting that February date to where, okay, we've made some significant progress. It looks like this thing's gonna be done by June of 26. Now, again, some of that's us depending on Monroe County to do their side as well, to do their part as well. But, our intention is to have all of our ducks in a row when we go to that meeting in February.
Chuck had mentioned maybe going in and taking pictures, physically taking pictures and stuff like that ourselves. When is our school board allowed to do that?
Whenever they give us permission. I mean, Mr. Cagle might have a better answer for you, but as it is now, that's property of Monroe County. We've asked to go in and address the staff, to talk to them about, some of their questions that have been unanswered. But again, we're waiting on, permission from their director and chair to get in the building and talk to them. So, Mr. Cagle might, would we be able to go in and get a video inventory or some pictures once a contract is signed, or how does that work?
It's my opinion that the chairman is correct, that I would either do that consistent with our inspection of the building, or I'd do that soon after we sign the contract, so we'll know what's there, what kind of equipment is there, that we expect to remain in the building. Beyond that, I think we have the right to legitimately ask for inventory. Let's see your inventory, and then at some point there, after we get the inventory, that we're going to say, okay, now tell us what you're taking. Tell us, or not what you're taking, but what have you taken, in some cases. So that's sort of an ongoing process, but certainly, I don't know many people who haven't gone in and bought a house lately that they haven't taken their cell phones and taken a lot of pictures. And I would imagine that we would do the same thing.
Are those inventories for audit? How often are they done?
I was gonna say, I just went on the Monroe County Schools audit. They don't have to file the inventory as part of the audit that becomes published on the website. So that is something we're gonna have to ask for from the central office to get a copy of those inventories. It's not posted on the state's website. The inventories are.
The inventory should be done every year. The inventory is one of those things, I don't know, I'm sure several of you had, I know the city administrator there had lots of interplay with auditors. It makes an auditor's day. That's literally one of the things that an auditor, will smile about, is when they find an inventory sheet or a piece of equipment that doesn't have a property tag on it. So those audits should be kept regularly. I mean, those inventories should be kept regularly, because literally any day of the school year, a federal auditor can walk in and that's the first thing they'll ask for, is because they want to know how the money's being spent. So those should be kept up to date. That is the typical business of a school.
So Chuck, you're also saying that when the inspection is, when they allow us to have an inspection or whatever, at that point, they can go in and take pictures as well of the,
Yeah.
okay.
But who is I mean, even with all due respect, you know how I feel about Monroe County Schools, but is this going to give them a way to drag their feet on as far as Rodney and our board answering questions of their employees? For you all to go in and talk with them, and answer their questions.
Well, we'll have to get permission to do the inspection too, right? I mean, we
I
can't
mean,
just walk in
you
and
see
look
what I'm
at-
saying?
Yeah, you have to.
I mean, does can
give
that happen
24
in the
hours, like
next
it says on there.
2 weeks, or will it be March?
The contract that they've signed about the inspection says we give them a 24-hour notice. And we coordinate that with their person. Now, if we give them the notice, again, they've already signed that contract. They've approved it. So literally all we have to give them is 24 hours notice. Now, I would think we'd want to do this when it's, there's the least interruption to students that there can be. Because engineers running around the building with ladders and things like that are, that's kind of disruptive. So we can schedule this weekend, we can schedule it if there's an upcoming school holiday, and there is, there's a possibility we can get this done pretty quickly, as long as an engineering firm has space available on their schedule.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns?
I would just like to ask while we got Chuck here, as far as next steps, because, obviously, an inspection, obviously, an inventory with pictures, we've talked about all those things. We're gonna be meeting with Monroe County on February the 13th, at that time, we'll have our inventory, we'll have all of our financials, we'll have all of our stuff ready. But as far as the city council goes and next steps, and I'm just thinking in terms of dates and meetings, first Monday versus the fourth Monday, what are next steps as far as this acquisition goes in coordinating with the city council? Is there a next meeting, or
We've already
or
voted.
do we just get the structural inspection done and present it to them and say, here it is, there's no findings, or there's minimal findings, or do we have to come back, for final approval or a vote? I just wanna make sure we do this the right way.
Yeah, I think our next conversation with city council does need to occur soon after we get the inspection done. Because if there are surprises there, the city council needs to know about that. Those are unanticipated expenditures. I think all of us will know that building is 100 years old. So we need to make sure that there aren't any surprises over there that can be readily discovered or readily apparent. So as soon as the inspection is done, I think if you get a green light there, that's a significant event. The other thing that concerns me about the transfer of a school of this type is personnel. We've got to press upon the county that we need to talk to their personnel. We need to know if we're going to have to hire teachers or classified employees. We need to know how many there are. Now, that's not going to increase expenditures, but that may legitimately affect instruction. So we need to keep the city council informed on how many people we're going to have to hire, how many of them are going to transfer to other schools in Monroe County, how many of them are going to be happy where they are, and that would be the next hot button issue for me after we get the building cleared. The inventory kind of takes care of itself. We may end up being happy or unhappy about it, but the inventory is going to take care of itself. If the building is not structurally sound, that's a big question. If we're going to lose half the staff, that's a big question.
All by February the 13th.
And I think we can do that by February 13th.
But did I not just hear that they have to allow you guys to talk to staff?
Well,
Yes.
when we met back whatever date it was, we met right before Christmas. December 11th. December the 11th. We were both parties were in agreement to go ahead and have a meeting before Christmas. And somehow that the next thing I know, I'm getting a letter from, their attorney saying that this probably not good because there'll be lots of questions that can't be answered, so we weren't allowed to schedule that meeting.
Has it been rescheduled or discussion of rescheduling?
Not to my knowledge.
There
So-
are some drop dead dates in here according to law that they have to make some decisions. One of them is the renewal of non-tenured teachers and other things. So they've got to make decisions on assignments and and non-renewal of non-tenured teachers and other things. Now, our contract says we're going to accept personnel. We're just going to accept the personnel. But if they intend to delay this, then they've got a lot of decisions that they have to make that they can't avoid forever. Plus the fact that if there's been a change in governance, their Title 49 of the Tennessee Code governs a lot of that and the rights of those employees. So they're going to have to allow us in to talk to those employees so that we can get the questions answered. To me, it's a chicken or the egg concept. The employees are never going to get their questions answered until we're allowed to talk to them.
Right.
So that's the thing we've got to do is impress upon them that if they want their questions answered, here we are. We're willing to talk to them.
So I would ask our county school board representatives, what power and direction do you have in measuring the temperature of the rest of the board? Do you guys see this happening within days of February the 13th?
I'm not certain I can answer that. You know, I'm talking about Mr. Bettis and I, we were not part of this meeting Mr. Morris was talking about. So we do not know everything that went on there. I will say this about what we discussed a while ago, and this is just me talking, one vote out of 10, okay?
Right.
If we get up against this February 13th date, because in good faith, you have hired a structural person to come in, and you just haven't gotten the information back, I would be willing to make a motion that we extend this February 13th date until that happens. Now, I hope Mr. Bettis would second it.
And at least get some discussion?
For discussion, at which time, I can't tell you what the other 10 are gonna, the other 8 are gonna do. But I would make sure that, and Mr. Bettis, I think would make sure that at least you would get.
I'm not gonna
heard.
say how I vote, because I'll be breaking the sunshine law. Yeah, he's right, we could do that, we could do that. If everything looks like it's going hard to happen.
We don't know how long it's gonna take them to get your report back.
Right.
You know, you're at their mercy on that.
They should be able to go in and meet soon, though. Not sure what that hold up, we weren't privy to that. We're not sure what really that hold up consists of.
I think, and again, I'm speaking just for me, you know, I'm working as much as I can toward this 26th date. I'm not saying anyone else is not, I'm just saying I'm working, but we can get it done by 26th. Rather than hold it over 18 more months, 6 months versus 18. I think Mr. Bettis is the same way.
I think my personal frustration, I'm just one vote, as you said, John, but my personal frustration is they're putting all these constraints and timelines on us that personally just feel unreasonable, and they hold all the cards in changing the schedule. That's my frustration.
And see, that goes on without the board even knowing sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, that's the day-to-day personnel you're talking about, and things that happen that we're not privy to, just not aware.
And one other additional statement is, if you're gonna play by February the 13th, and that's why I asked Chuck this question, some of these items, to me, and like I say, I'm speaking out of ignorance, but some of these could still be worked out after the 13th. I think that's the pressure point for me. And to read this for the first time, less than 24 hours ago, and know about February the 13th, and then have Chuck tell us, well, if it's not done by the 13th, then it makes, and I'm just speaking my heart, it makes me feel like they're blaming us for not getting something done in a very limited time frame.
Well, we've got a very short window to get this done because we got a lot of state and federal things we have to move.
Less than 30 days, and me seeing this for the first time, 24 hours?
By June 30th, then we can't push it out to August 30th, like during the school year.
Yeah, I'm not asking to run past June. I'm just,
Right.
once again, we're all friends and family here, but I'm just speaking my heart. It's just frustrating.
And I'd like to interject this too, and Chuck, you can speak to this. The contract doesn't read that everything has to be finalized and done by February 13th. It's, we come back and reconvene, both boards meet, and if they don't feel like significant progress is being made to hit that June 30th, 26th deadline, then they push it out to 27. So it's not that everything has to be done. You're right, Sam. Some of that stuff could be done
Okay.
after that February 13th mark. It's just when we get to that mark, have we made any progress? Have the wheels been set in motion? Has the inspection been done? Or even if we're waiting on the report.
Okay.
So I believe that's not a hard, fast timeline of when it has to be done. It's just, let's regroup and see, have we made any progress, and are we gonna hit that June 30th mark? Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that gives me a little bit more hope.
Yeah, and one other question, Chuck. When Sam brought this up, it just popped in my mind. If we're waiting on Monroe County Schools to give us permission to enter in there and speak to staff, is there anything that would keep us from addressing our staff? Because there are some changes that would affect our staff as far as added benefits, and invite anybody from the high school that would like to attend to hear the facts and information and hear it that way. Is there anything wrong with that? Rather than us going into the high school and speaking to them, basically us hosting an informational session in one of our schools and inviting their employees.
There's absolutely nothing that would prevent that, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you.
John, I'm gonna hire you as a real estate attorney after all this.
Tell you what, you get past this, I'm done.
John, as you and I spoke earlier, I'll call the one that I think done the assessment tomorrow. I'll at least do my part in that, and then obviously Alan Hill was in our class, so I think Rodney and I know him just a little bit 100 years ago. If structural isn't who we think it is, I'll call Alan and see what we can get, and then I'll call Philip Carroll as well. So stay tuned for 24 hours for three phone calls. Like I say, there's no one that's more blue and gold till we're dead and cold than this room, and I think all of us want this to happen. We're so proud to make this happen. It's just it's a little frustrating on the things that keep changing and the time constraints keep shrinking. But this is the profession we have chosen. So,
Chuck, I do have a question. We voted on a resolution, I think in November, for the to buy Sweetwater High School. As the board, do we need to do anything else? Or I said, do they need to do anything else?
Madam Mayor, I don't see anything that needs to be done at this point at all. I think you've taken all the action you need to take. The next action that you will take is, as best I can tell, will probably approve a fund transfer for the funds from the undesignated fund balance to the general fund to pay the purchase price. But until that happens, I think that everything that needs to be done has been done.
Okay.
And to that end, if I could say this, I really appreciate what my clients, the city school board, have done, but I really appreciate what you folks have done. And the nature of your inquiries here, I think, is right on key. We all want this to happen. we're now to the point where this is just like any other real estate transaction. It can get frustrating. And when we're going to, on behalf of my clients, I can tell you, they're going to keep pushing hard to make sure this happens and happens as quickly as possible. And we really appreciate your support.
I do think that resolution, was that not contingent on the inspection? Is the way that was worded?
I think that
Contingent on
and
a
the
clean inspection.
inventory, and I think what we actually did was
I believe that was right.
agree that we
That it-
chip $435,000 more dollars in every year.
maintenance
We said
of
we'd
every-
meet the maintenance effort.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't to purchase it, that was on the city school system, you're right, Tim,
Yeah.
it was to fund the maintenance of effort, amount
But-
of $440,000.
But it was to come back to the board after the inspection came back for like a ratification.
I think it might have been Branham that made the motion for the required inspection.
Yeah.
I believe, or it might have been Sam.
Obviously, we all want the best, and we don't want to be taken, and I know you guys don't either, and that's part of the discussion. Just making sure we ask the right questions and get the right information.
Thank you, John. I know it's a lot of work, so thank you.
You're saying, are they public records? I would think so. It's been
I bet they didn't have drawings.
well,
The building was constructed.
Dr. Fox asked if the plans and the reports are public records, just like any other document.
Yes. Yes, they would be.
Yeah, we can make a records request. I'm gonna make a records request tomorrow.
Really?
Okay, any other concerns, comments, questions for Mr. Cagle?
Thanks, Chuck.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so
Chuck,
much.
thank you so much. We appreciate you being a great asset to the Sweetwater community, even if you are in Nashville.
Well, I tell everybody, even I told the group at Perry County today, I'm from Sweetwater and I've been misplaced in Nashville for 35 years.
Well, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, that was, we appreciate Chuck, so we don't have anything else we have a deadline, and you all are gonna take care of that, John, right? Okay. So,
Will we do a called meeting or something if those inspection reports, when they get back?
we
if
should have a
necessary?
meeting before,
we got
if they're back by then.
workshop.
That's what I'm saying, if they're not back.
If
We had a
they're not
workshop
back.
And a regular.
and a regular meeting, so.
So hopefully they will be back, but if not, I mean, I guess we can do a called meeting. Jess, what do you think?
That sounds like a plan.
Okay, Jessica has an update for us to close out this meeting.
Just want to give you a quick update on the interstate development project, the spec buildings, and, you might notice there's a construction trailer out there now, so they put that
Saw
out
that.
there this past weekend, I think, when I drove by, I noticed that. Again, Planning Commission approved the site plan on the project. I talked to Tom again today. They're moving forward, but they are waiting on TDEC. As soon as TDEC gives them their permission, they're gonna start breaking ground, and I'll probably be emailing you all urgently saying we're supposed to go to a groundbreaking ceremony. It may be on February 13th. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
As long as
soon
it's
as
the
they call
12th.
me, I'll call you all. But I'm excited about the progress on that already. Earlier today, I got to attend a meeting with the county executive, the Senator Hatcher, Representative Lowell Russell, Representative Mark Cochran, all of which kind of were aware of the project, and I got to update them on it too. So I think everybody's looking forward to that. I am getting more questions about it. The newspaper called today. One of the other city people asked about, when it was planned to start. But again, that contract says they have to do 2 buildings within the first 2 years. That was part of their agreement when they got funding from Maine County that they put in there for their provision, or they have a clawback clause. So they don't want to have to pay out that clawback clause. So I do think we'll see things
speed up and happen as soon as TDEC gives them the permit. And it's not even on the land they're building, it's on there's a blue line that runs along the edge of the property that they will have to cross to get into the industrial park. So it's the crossing of that blue line that's causing kind of the holdup with TDEC. They put that application in like October, so we're thinking any day now they'll end up getting some kind of response on it. They've had 2 in-person meetings with them on the site, so I think it's moving forward. We'll see something else happen besides just a construction trailer sitting there soon. I wanted to give you kind of an update on some of the Christmas season numbers. Haley's much better at running the placer data, but I ran just from small town Christmas in November through December, just to kind of look what it was compared to the year before. We had an increase of 55,000 out-of-market visitors to the city of Sweetwater, which is 11% more than it was last year during that time frame for the holidays. Our non-resident visits were 106,000. So out-of-market visitors is the number of people that visit the Main Street District but do not live or work inside the Main Street District. And the 106,000 for non-resident visits includes commuters that come there and work every day and then leave or, work publicly. So definitely more visitors in downtown for the Christmas season than we've ever had before. It was odd to see some of the spikes. I mean, basically every Friday and Saturday was hitting new numbers, and then 2 days before Christmas and 2 days after Christmas, it got real busy again downtown, but it was interesting. Haley will do more than that when she does her numbers for the year, when she does her report later this year. The retail recruitment firm, we have a meeting with them on January 20th. Sam is actually representing some building and property and business owners downtown. And then the mayor will be there, I'll be there, John Campbell will be there, Haley will be there as tourism representative. We'll probably pull in a couple other downtown business owners or different people. What they're trying to do, they've already been on site one time, but this visit will they will be presenting some of the data. I've included some of it in your packet. So they've already worked on the gap analysis. They've already worked on the comparison from 2025 to the 2019 market guide that we have posted on our website. Both of those activities, or both of those, that paperwork shows that our median household income has climbed from 52,000 to 60,000, which is a good, significant little jump in that period. Daytime population has also gone up. They think daytime population in Sweetwater is around 39,000, which is important when they're looking at we're not isolated. We have a lot of people that come in through the day or stay around, so I think that'll help them. And then, of course, what the meeting will mainly be about is trying to figure out what we want, what we don't want, what we hope comes to some of our available properties. So that'll be an important meeting on January 20th. I know the mayor and I are very excited about it. We're hoping it's going to accomplish some long-term goals for us. There's also a letter in your packet from the Kiwanis Club talking about the Christmas parade. The Sweetwater 150th float won first place in the civic category. So thank you, Jinx Concrete, that sponsored that, and that was a great ending for our 150th celebration. We appeared in the TML newsletter article. I put a copy of that in your packet. That's us. That's our picture. The state came through and awarded 19 cities different tourism grants, and of course we got one of those. Ours is for the Biggs House, so we got $98,000 to help redo the Biggs House, which Sam and I are trying to work out a date where we can have a meeting to sit down and talk out a plan for that. But the capital improvement plan is in your packet as it was passed last year. So this has no changes to it, no new wish lists on it. I just wanted to go ahead and give that to you all now so you can be talking to your department heads. We are going to talk through the capital improvement plans for each department in our training this Thursday, but you need to be talking to your department head about exactly what they want to see in the next capital improvement plan. And the important thing with that is we're not actually required to adopt it anymore, but a lot of times we send it to East Tennessee Development District to be on the lookout for grants. When we do have grants, I submit it with a grant application and say, look, this has been on our capital improvement plan for 6 years and we've never found funding for it, so we really need this grant money. It definitely helps with the narrative when we're applying for grants. It is kind of a wish list. Some of that stuff we may never end up getting, but it's also a planning document to help us understand what we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 years from now. So I do want everybody to just kind of take a look at that. We'll get into that in more depth in the January workshop. Also, there's an email from Sweetwater Utility Board that I was very sad to receive because it means that they're we had equalization ratios issued by the state of Tennessee for McMinn County, Monroe County, and Loudoun County, which the only ones that affect us are McMinn and Monroe. But the equalization ratios went down, which means that our property tax assessment goes down, which also means that the Sweetwater Utility Board's payment in lieu of taxes goes down. Basically, what that means in our numbers is we had budgeted to receive X amount from Sweetwater Utility Board. It's actually gonna be $50,000 less than that. So we are gonna have $50,000 less current year revenue than what we thought we were gonna have. So I just wanna make y'all aware of that. I do hope to schedule a working date for a capital planning workshop. I don't know if y'all just wanna throw this on the January 26th workshop. And if you do we wanna come in earlier? Do we wanna just start at 5 and go until we get it done? And what I mean by capital planning is maybe we have a discussion and it only takes an hour, or maybe it takes longer. So I just kinda wanna get your all's feel on that.
For the January workshop?
January workshop, January 26th is our normal workshop date. Do we just wanna do capital planning in that normal workshop? Do we think it needs its own special thing to sit and talk about some stuff? Some of the things we would be going over, as we always do, is the paving plan, the 10-year paving plan, the Biggs House, the grants that we have, the pool project, the community center project. Those are some of the things we would be trying to put a timeline on. So I'm fine with doing it during the January 26th workshop, but if y'all think we need more, there have been times in the past when we start at noon and have lunch and work as long as we have to until we get it done. I don't know if that's what you all wanna do, if you wanna just try and do it at the workshop, and if we don't get it all in, we can plan it again for February. We don't actually have to have the capital improvement plan passed until, I say we need to do it by first reading of the budget. We're supposed to pass the capital plan before we pass the budget, so, and technically, we don't have to pass the budget until May or June, so we've got some time. If you wanna start in January, see how far we get, and then do it again in February, or if you wanna have a special day that's just all about capital planning, I just kinda wanna get your all's thoughts on that.
No?
The evening's better for me.
Who we do?
Just bring us food.
Start, do we wanna start early or just plan to stay as late as possible? Or late as required?
That works better for me.
Okay. So come at 5 and stay all night?
So we'll start in January, and if we don't get it done, we still have February and March to look at it, so. And then, just so you all know, we're doing our annual supervisor training, January 8th from 9 to 2 at City Hall, so the front window will be closed from 9 to 2 this Thursday. We do this every year. We go through the code of conduct, we go through how you ban people from city property, we go through supervisor training for HR stuff. So it's all the policies that supervisors are supposed to have every year. We do that training, and then we also do some leadership development training. All the department heads come, and usually one or two other people from each department, just so we're kinda succession planning a little bit. But if any of y'all wanna stop through on Thursday from 9 to 2, I hope you hear lots of laughter and good times together, because usually we have a good time, play some team building activities and things like that. But some of the stuff is required and we have to do it every year, and some of it is just good for us. Goal setting, stuff like that. So that's my report.
Okay, do I have I think that's it on our agenda for this evening.
One question.
Yes.
Well, you were talking about interstate projects. Did we get any kind of reply about lighting on the 62? Is that in, out? Nobody knows?
It's not, the last drawing I saw with the 2 red lights
Yeah,
does not show high mass lighting.
okay.
Now, we did reach out to TDOT
Yes,
when they
we
were
did.
first doing that plan and send them a letter and ask them to include it. So I'm happy, I mean, we can do another letter to them and just kinda, but at this point, they have not.
Okay.
The drawing I saw does not have that included.
Thank you.
Okay, do I have a motion that we can adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Any second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
We wanna
All
stay
in
longer.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
He's
Okay,
dragging us out
motion
again.
carries. The
Good.
meeting is adjourned.
Jess,